experiments with them? What did you do with these? Yeah, you looked at well, you looked at the real pollen under the microscope, wasn't it? But these are models then. So are these the size of real pollen molecules?
No.
No. They're much smaller, aren't they? So do you remember you trying to work out how much smaller a real pollen molecule is then? And what you did was you got a measuring tape and you measured this. You wrote it down in your workbooks, and then you worked out how much smaller a real pollen molecule was then. So how much magnification there is between this model and the real pollen then. So what you've hopefully learned in the session, in the lecture you just had with Steve, is why do we need to identify different types of pollen? In the lab, we're going to be talking about how we identify different types of pollen. So this is another example of a pollen then. So you can see that these look differently and they have different functions then. But the reason for that is that they've got different DNA inside them. So if you went into a small shop and say you bought 5 items and they each had a price on them, like £1.50, 50 pence, then that works well in a small shop. You can take it up to the cashier and they'll tot up different figures then. If you go into a big supermarket and you're buying lots of whole trolleys worth of items, that would be an incredibly slow way of doing it. So if you were up at the cash desk, how does the cashier know what items you bought? Because you get your receipt at the end and it's called like cornflakes, whatever. How does the cashier and the machines know that? What is on your items? Yes.
The barcode.
Yes, well done then. And each item has got a unique barcode, otherwise it wouldn't work, then it wouldn't know the difference between them. So there's a set of lines, but each set of lines is different. Well, the same goes for the DNA inside us. So each of you has got DNA inside your cells, and that is unique to you. And the same with pollen, so they have DNA inside them that are unique to them then. That is what you're going to be doing today, is you're going to be looking at how the DNA is different from different pollens then, and you're going to do an experiment to show that. So the first stage in the experiment is you need to extract the DNA from pollens. Now it was difficult for us to actually give you the starting material of enough pollen to do it. So what we did instead was get strawberries, kiwi fruits and bananas, and we mushed them all up as the first step. And then the idea was that you were going to do the DNA extraction and you were going to see the actual DNA at the end. But this is a good example of how science doesn't always go right then. So sometimes things go wrong in science, but a good scientist accepts that maybe it hasn't worked the first time, but what a good scientist does is try to work out what has gone wrong or why it's gone wrong then. So in this particular case, then I knew that you needed to mush them up, you needed to add some detergent, you mixed it up together, you then sift it so you got rid of all the solid parts, and then finally you would add some alcohol then, and then you would see the DNA float to the top. I've been doing this over the last hour, I've been doing this and thinking this DNA doesn't look very good. Usually you get lots of it, you can spool out loads of white DNA, but it hasn't really worked today. So I was trying to think, I just got a pathetic little amount, I will show you it then, but just a pathetic little amount right on the side of the tube. So I thought, well, what could have gone wrong? We've done this before and it's worked well. And then I looked at the colour of the detergent and I thought, that's very green. And then I looked at the bottle and it's fairy liquid, which is very good at cleaning your dishes. Not that I'm doing, trying to promote it. Other brands work equally well, yes. But what you actually need for DNA extraction, I sort of remember this from before, was you actually need a weaker solution. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you could just put more water in it and work with fairy. You actually need a different brand, you need a cheap brand. Because you don't want too much detergent action. If you put too much detergent in there, then it breaks up the cells too much and you lose the DNA. So I think that is what has happened then. So when we do this, you're the first group we've done this with, so we've had a little problem today. But what we do is we learn from it, and the next time we get a school group, then we will use a different detergent and hopefully get much more DNA and be able to work out that get on to the second step in the process, which is what you also need, apart from some starting DNA, is that you also need to have lots and lots and lots of that starting DNA then. So you've got to amplify it, so you have millions of copies then. So you start off with one copy, and then you've got to make like 1 million copies from that. So that's what you're going to do today. So in the next hour or so, you're going to make your own DNA samples. Now you've got a student ambassador who have got three red t-shirts here, and also up here as well. I've got red t-shirts on, but they're the ambassadors as well. So you've got a student that will help you do this. Then you're going to practice using the pipettes which are in front of you first of all, and then once you're comfortable with the way you use the pipettes, you're each going to prepare one of these samples. It's called the reaction is called the polymerase chain reaction. And it's a chain reaction because there's lots of cycles to get lots of copies then. And you're going to put, and that's shortened to, it's called a polymerase chain reaction shortened to PCR. It's a very common technique in the School of Pharmacy and the School of Biosciences, which is where quite a lot of us come from. And you're learning a very common technique that's used in hospitals and lots of different places then. But you're each going to prepare your own sample then with help from the ambassadors. So you also need to put on a pair of safety glasses each, and you need to get some gloves. Now down here, there's gloves here, there's also gloves in the roll down here. You'll see that the blue ones here are small ones, and the green ones are medium. Now the gloves should fit you sort of quite tightly. You don't want them to, because otherwise it's difficult to use. So try and pick the right size that you can get on your hands, but are fairly tight as well then. So if you just want to come down, maybe the ones down this end go to there,